The Man Whore Podcast is sponsored by HotMovies.com. Try out some ethical, paid-for porn for free with none of those hidden fees or secret subscriptions when you sign up at HotMovies.com and use the promo code MANWHORE. Now let's get to the show.
Welcome to the Man Whore Podcast.
Shout out to all you Fauci fetishists and Newsom nymphs, to all the Cuomo groupies and Whitmer slaves. This is Billy Procida, and you are listening to the Man Whore Podcast. Andrew Cuomo, is his nipple pierced? Is it not? Does it matter? Dude, just cancel the rent. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to my show. This week on the podcast, I've got on award-winning trans porn star Jessy Dubai. And she's got quite the story to share with y'all in a little bit. But first, I got some sad news. I have an unfortunate announcement to make. I will not be throwing a Man Whore Con in New York City this August. Even though New York City is doing great, kicking the coronavirus's ass, looks like we are getting on the other side of it over here. You know, who knows? The rest of the country ain't that way. And who knows where we're going to be? Just too much is changing week to week. And I would hate for so many of y'all to, make travel arrangements and put in for time off of work if you're working again, or to spend the money and just for it to all be canceled like a week before or days before. And during this pandemic, there's just no way for me to throw Man Whore Con in New York City the way I want to throw Man Whore Con, the way I feel like you deserve to have Man Whore Con thrown. So I will not be attempting, and we will try again next year. But I don't want to say Man Whore Con is canceled. I don't really want to say that, not just because I don't want to, but because I'm not necessarily canceling the concept of Man Whore Con. If you, yes you, are interested in throwing a regional Man Whore Con in your part of the country, a much simpler itinerary, maybe it's free or donation-based attendance, maybe it's 1 day or 1.5 days instead of like a full 2+ days, shoot me an email at manwhorepod@gmail.com. Do not email me just to say, hey, I would love to come to one if someone throws it in my neck of the woods. Please don't throw me those emails. Just email me if you're looking to help throw something where you are. If there's a way to cover the cost of my travel, I will help promote the thing. I will help plan. I will attend. I will show up and take my dick out or not, depending on what the plan is. I think it would be super fun to have like a few regional Man Whore Cons over the course of the next 9 months leading up to next summer's Man Whore Con. So I think that would be pretty cool. I would love to help make it happen with you. And there will continue to be great ways to connect with fellow fan whores from afar. Obviously, we got our Patreon communities, the Champagne Room on Facebook. We have the Peep Show group chat is always popping off. And next month, we have our monthly Man Whore Munch on June 4th. June 4th, because we're going to count down to my birthday at midnight. So the next monthly Man Whore Munch is June 4th. 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Come pop in, say hi, wish me a happy birthday. I'm going to go to Target and buy some fun little birthday shit and throw myself a goddamn ball. And I hope you'll be there. The monthly Man Whore Munch, of course, is available to all of my $7 and up Patreon members. So if you'd like to join us on June 4th, want to join us in our other private communities, become a member today at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. And that seems like a perfect time to do the fan whore appreciation moment, okay? This is the part of the podcast where I like to give a few shout outs to some of the members of my fan whore community on Patreon. These people are so important to me because not only do they put money in my pocket so that I can pay rent and put food in my mouth and condoms on my cock. But these people show their appreciation and enthusiasm for this show every day in our private communities, and it just means the world to me. And I hope you all consider paying some of the content creators you enjoy in your life, even if I'm not one of them. Except if you're listening to this, I gotta assume I'm somewhere in the top 10, but I digress. I want to give a shout out right now to Leah Howard. Oh, honey, we miss you and your hot ass and your hot husband doing the hot stuff together in the Peep Show. We hope you'll be back. You are very much missed. Thank you so much to Caitlin Bowden from the Badass Army. I love it when I have on somebody on the podcast and they had such a good time that they decide to become a Patreon member. Isn't that cool? Thank you, Caitlin. You're doing great work fighting the revenge porn. I want to give a shout out to Chris. Always fun when you pop in to the Peep Show. And hey, you know what? Shave your pubes how you want to, dude. It's your dick. It's your pubes. It's your body. It's your choice. And I want to give a thank you to G. Not G-Unit, not G-Thing, but just G. I love my Nordic whoreheads. Someone tell me how to say stay slutty in Viking. I want to know that information. And yes, you too can become a member for as little as $2. That gets you access to my private Patreon only posts, gets you a shout out on the show, and gets you exclusive access to the champagne room. Hey. Once again, become a member today and support the podcast at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. And hey, if you're not really one of those like monthly subscription type of people and you just want to do a really nice one-time donation, my Venmo, my Cash App, my PayPal are all in the show notes of this episode. By the way, did you know you can email the Man Whore Podcast? Yes, you can. You can always send your comments, your questions, your criticisms, your titty pictures, all that on over to manwhorepod@gmail.com. If you have a question for me and Megan that you would like to hear answered on an upcoming Corona cast, that's the email to send it to. Our most recent Corona cast episode was all about us doing Q&As, answering your questions. So feel free to send those in. And now for this week's guest, Jessy Dubai. This is my final recording from this year's AVN Awards, from this year's Adult Entertainment Expo over in Las Vegas. You know I go there every year. And this is the last one of that batch. I do want to just address and apologize for the planes. Apparently, we were recording when the nearby airport decided to send every plane that they had in just that hour. Jessy Dubai has got quite a story. I'm not even going to try to tell it to you. I'm just going to say it's a little bonkers. It sucks that it happened. It sucks that the laws are designed the way in which that they are, that it would allow for this to happen. And I'm going to go ahead and let Jessy Dubai tell you her story. Let's get to it. You ever wonder what porn star you look like? Honestly, I didn't until HotMovies.com came out with a facial recognition feature on their site so that when you want to look up a particular performer's work, but you just can't remember their name, all you got to do is upload a photo and they will be able to match it with that star and then show you all of their work. HotMovies.com, yeah, you know them, you love them. We love them here at the Man Whore Podcast. They've been a long-time supporter of this show that you love. HotMovies.com, the pay-per-minute porn site that makes it both an ethical and affordable way to hashtag pay for some of your porn. Anyways, I got this new facial recognition feature, so I got a little curious, and I just uploaded a picture of myself. Probably one of my best photos of myself, I'd say. And it came up, who do I look like? Ben Rose, who is a gay porn star. So all of my queer fellow listeners, just go watch some Ben Rose porn at hotmovies.com, and it's basically like watching me fuck, something I know quite a number of you wish you could see. Oh, my DMs are quite the place. By now, you should have already signed up for a free trial at hotmovies.com using my promo code MANWHORE. This site has licensed movies from all of your favorite porn stars, all your favorite studios, with all your favorite categories. In fact, they got categories you didn't even know or categories that you liked. So you could search like hand job, male on male in San Francisco, and I will get 178 matches. That's why you need to go get a bundle of minutes over at hotmovies.com. And if you use promo code MANWHORE, you will get 20 extra minutes on top of any package. Sign up for the free trial, the 20-minute free trial. My listeners get a 40-minute free trial because that's how much hotmovies.com cares about the fan horse. One more time, go to hotmovies.com, play around with their facial recognition feature, see which porn star that the algorithm thinks you look like, and stay slutty. One more time, hotmovies.com, promo code MANWHORE. Let's go get to Jessy Dubai. Jessy Dubai, hello there. You were nominated for Best Trans Performer of the Year.
Yes, I'm so excited. Last year, I wasn't nominated because I took like a little forced sabbatical.
That's one way to phrase it.
Yeah. I mean, it was a forced sabbatical. What can you do? Well, now that I'm back and, once again, I'm nominated for all these awards, it's like, makes me feel like the beginning. The first year when I started doing porn, that same year I started like being nominated for like all these awards.
Well, I mean, why don't you tell us about this forced sabbatical, which is, like I said, an interesting way to phrase it.
I mean, it's no secret that on 2016, 17, around then, I was accused of a very serious crime, just basically for having a friend in common, even though I didn't agree and I didn't, participated in anything. I feel that I got persecuted and charged, if we can say, just because of being Jessy Dubai, because being who I am. Because at that moment it was like elections time and my persecutor was like up for an election or something. I was accused of human trafficking of a minor for sexual purposes.
Oh.
And yeah, it was very serious. And when the FBI came to my house, immediately in my mind, I'm like, how can I help them? What can I do? What do they need from me?
I'm a good citizen.
Yeah,
I would like to assist.
because I haven't done anything. I actually was like, oh, is this like in the movies? Like, am I going to help them? Are they going to like ask me to be undercover?
Let's get the guy who did this.
And then they subpoenaed me. And I had to cut my trip short from New York. I come to Denver. As soon as I arrived on Sunday night, by Monday morning, I had to go. I got my subpoenaed by someone that came knocking the door. The next day was my, my appearance in front of a grand jury. And immediately I was like, I don't need a lawyer. I'm innocent. Like, what
you went in without a lawyer?
And I didn't have enough time to get a lawyer and I needed to be there. So it got to a point that I felt like I got tricked. Well, of course,
you definitely got tricked. If they tried to tell you, you don't have time to get a lawyer, you got time to get a lawyer. You're a loud one.
They're like, this is not a judgment. This is just for us to know we're not against you, but we need your help to put this person that we think did it, behind bars because, the girl that you met apparently was a victim of human trafficking. And I was like, oh my God, I had the feeling. And I told them I could kind of tell and I tried to help her. So, I used to go to school when I was in Denver. I started going to school for photography. Because I wanted to start in the production business since I already am a model and an entertainer. So I also at that moment, I started thinking of doing my mentor, project of helping other girls that want to get out of escorting, wants to get out of prostitution or wants to get out any of that stuff into actually becoming legit models, legit,
like adult as well.
Adult industry. Yeah. Because I didn't become a model, until I saw myself as one, until someone believed that I could be, and until someone gave me a chance. So there's a lot of girls out there, trans girls. My focus was on trans girls to help them and, help them become someone like me if they wanted to, But of course, just like in any industry, I need paperwork, I need contracts, I need IDs. We need to make everything by the law.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there's a reason why we're moving from, walking the streets to becoming producers, directors, whether we're transsexuals or straight. So that was my purpose. I meet a Uber driver that he became like my regular. It got to a point that I stopped.
You're a regular Uber driver?
Yes.
Okay.
It got to the point that I didn't hire him through Uber anymore because he was like,
yeah, you just hit him. You just
I was like,
call up Jim.
how about if I just call you and you just come every morning, pick me up at the same time, and then pick me up from school at the same time. So if you get a ride to the airport or something, let me know. But otherwise, I'll know that you're outside waiting for me.
Sure.
So in the trips, I had phone conversations. He could tell what my job was. And of course, I spoke with him. Yeah, my name's Jessy Dubai. I'm a porn star, this and that. And then he starts telling me about, having these girls that he drives around. But the way he, said it was just like, it's just like you. They call me and I pick them up. And sometimes they don't feel comfortable and they ask me to stay. And I'm like, oh yeah, I've been there. I know what you mean, Long story short, one day I tell him about my project of, helping girls, becoming
get off the streets
and becoming a successful, entrepreneur. If you're going to sell your ass, at least be a professional, do it the legal way, and become someone out of it, Let me put it this way. And I also believe that the government doesn't really care that, you sell your ass as long as you get to pay your taxes. And you get to do that on porn.
Look, how'd they get Al Capone? Tax evasion.
Tax evasion,
right?
Yep.
It's pay the fucking taxes.
Yes, the IRS will get you. Anyway, so I'm talking with this guy. We're talking about...
your driver guy.
Yeah, my Uber driver. I'm telling him about my idea and stuff. And he's like, oh yeah, I have some girls that I can refer you to. And I'm like, okay. When I mean girls, of course, I mean any woman above the age of 18. One day, he brings this girl to my apartment. And of course, I'm not going to bring any strangers into my house. So I met them in a public area in my apartment. There was nothing to hide. I meet with her. And the moment that I meet with her, I sit on the big table in the conference room at the community room of my apartments. And I'm talking with her about how many pictures do you have in your website? Like, what do you do?
You have clips. Are you camming yet? What are you doing? Yeah.
Exactly. And then she told me, no, he told me you were going to do everything for me. I'm like, no. So then.
But at the time, she's escorting at the time?
At the time, I think for the story, like now if we fast forward to me seeing the transcripts and, the details from the papers from my lawyer. Yes, apparently she was a minor that she was being prostituted. Okay. She ran away from home like about a year and a half before I met her. So she was like being passed from pimp to pimp to pimp. Mm-hmm. I think she met her first pimp at a fast food restaurant from Tinder or some website, and immediately I could tell that something was not right, I could tell she was like, okay, I can tell you look rough in the edges.
Well, how do you mean? How'd she look? What were you sensing?
Her hair, she was really pretty, very pretty. She looked mature. She looked like 18, 19, 20. She did not look what her age was,
How old was she?
And I'll tell you her age in a minute.
Save the surprise.
Yes. So we all know it's under 18. Yeah. So then she, her hair was a little messed up. So, she looked rough in the edges. That's what I'm trying to mean. And I was like, but at first I saw, okay, you want to become a legitimate model. You want to make business, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, look, I can offer you this. We can do this and we can do that. And she's like, oh, that sounds perfect. Everything legal. How about if we set up a photo shoot with my photographer? We do nice photos. We do profile pictures for your model mayhem, backstage.
So you're helping her not just to maybe get into porn, but also to just model.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yes. I have a name, Jessy Dubai. Yeah. Yes, it's because of porn, but I also have a name that backs me up in the industry of modeling and acting. So why not use that name, since I might not be able to cross mainstream right away, help someone that got polished because of me to do that.
And would you be operating like as an agent, or are you just like
Of
being
course.
I was just curious.
It'll be like taking
maybe you're
girls.
just doing it out of the goodness of your heart.
No,
being
of course. It'll be like me taking girls. It was for me. That was my thought. Me taking girls under my wing to help them so they do not go through doing pro bono the way I had to do sometimes, the way I had to like pay for my own trips to basically perform at different studios, just to be out there. When I first started, that literally didn't took me anywhere until I actually had an idea, a plan, how I'm going to do this, play by play, and every month, what am I going to do in order to get there? That's when I started actually being recognized, being, taken into consideration, that I became who Jessy Dubai is now.
What was it that you did that made you become Jessy Dubai? Because you said doing the pro bono and that early rookie stuff wasn't helping. So what was it you did? Was it...
Well, the rookie stuff was pretty much, guys hitting me up online or hitting me up on my emails and stuff, asking me if I wanted to do a shoot and stuff. And of course, girls back then I'm telling you, this was like
2013, 14.
Yes, 2010, around that time. That, of course, I did, times, it's not that times were tough, but at the same time, a trans girl wouldn't be able to get a job that easy, Since I was younger, I was already working at a bar. I was already working, adult nightclub jobs, of course, with a fake ID, but the girl needed to pay her food and pay her shelter. So, I started trying to, put myself out there doing modeling here and there, but, nothing really came out of it. We'll get the guys, like I said, pro bono that, hey, let's do a video, but I thought it was going to be a production. Then later it turns out to be just, a dude with his camera in his house. And I'm like, are you sure? And I mean, no, it sounds cliche.
It's like, are you male talent, or do you just not want to pay an escort? And so you bought a camera because it was cheaper?
Yes. So, but at those moments, you don't see it because like, you're new, you're naive, and you're like, I guess we can say like you're hungry for that desire. And
so trusting, I'm sure. Just
that
like,
you're willing to maybe something will come out of this. But I did that. It was until like someone told me, why don't you build a website and do porn? I don't want to do porn. Like what would my family think and this and that? It got to my head that I'm like, no, if I'm going to be a whore, I'm gonna be a successful one. If I'm going to be selling my ass and people's talking about me, they better be talking about how good I do it and how good I look.
Well, what's the difference between you getting into porn and doing the shoots with the guys online? Were those non-porn shoots and they were just... Was that just non-nude modeling?
It didn't lead nowhere. That's the thing. Right. It didn't lead nowhere.
Right.
Okay. It was until I actually sat down and I told myself, okay, we're going to start webcamming. We're going to see how that works. Because that way I'm in control. I do what I want. I work when I want. Mm-hmm. And of course I had a day job. I had, another income, sources, my burlesque shows, my performances at nightclubs. But at night, I will always come back home and chatterbait or do a few, Flirt for free. I remember.
Flirt for free? Oh, yes. Wow. Some of these sites like don't even exist, I'm sure. Like I used to webcam in college, but that was like almost a decade ago. And I'm thinking like, I don't even know if that site exists anymore. Cause like I've never seen it. I've never seen anyone plug adult friend time or something on Twitter.
Yeah.
And now looking back, I was like, what the fuck was I even on?
Right? You're like, are they even on anymore?
Yeah.
So I started doing the webcamming. And after the webcamming, I started liking it and I started getting more viewers. That later I got offered by different companies to build me a website and manage it for me. The first try that I did, it was with a company in India or something. It took like
sounds legit.
6 months to get my website, and they did a good job. But the thing is that I will have to send them my content to them, so they will upload it and manage it and this and that. I'm like, oh, that sounds too hard. I mean, it sounds easy, but not too hard. I want to manage it. I want to be the one that decides when I upload it, how I upload it.
Okay.
Kind of like, having a MySpace.
Taking more ownership over your content
Yes.
business.
Like we do now with like this, my website, that you when as a member, you see one site, but me as logging in as Jessy Dubai, I see the whole picture of like how many fans I have, how many, sales, how many clips am I behind, when was the last time I uploaded, and, keep it up to date.
So now you want to become, now you decide, okay, I want to help other trans women like get out there and get into the industry, whether they want to model, if they want to do porn. And what happened with this girl?
Okay.
She comes to your house. She's like rough around the edges, but we're going to set this up. We're going to take some pictures. We're going to start your accounts, and we're going to get you going.
Everything was perfect. And then I said, can I see your ID so I can take pictures and you can sign this model release for me? I don't have an ID. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't have an ID? Everyone needs to have an ID, sweetheart. Oh, I lost it, this and that. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I took my papers back. And then I told her, I was like, look, legally, I cannot work. I would love to work with you. I feel like I can do so much for you and we can help each other. You're super pretty. And like, I can tell you're having a rough time. Like, that's when I kind of like, I guess I brought it out that I'm like, I can tell you're having a rough time and I would love to help you. Yeah. But if you don't have legal ID that it shows me your name, your age, I can't do anything because I can get in trouble, Yeah. It was like something in the back of my mind telling me like, don't fuck this up, bitch. Like, don't. Follow your instincts. Mm-hmm. And then I told her, I was like, here. And I remember ripping a piece of paper and then pulling out of my purse 2 business cards. One was the piece of paper, I wrote my phone number. And the other 2 business cards, I had the phone number for the homeless woman shelter downtown. Mm-hmm. And then I had the phone number of my therapist, which I know she helps girls find places where to stay or, shelter. So I told her, whenever you need anything, call any of these 3 numbers or reach out to them. This one is mine and this is this. Mm. Are you okay? Have you eaten? Like, I asked her and she's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm like, you don't have to do anything that you don't want to do, right? Like, are you sure you're okay? Like, something was like more telling because she started getting nervous and she's like, okay, I gotta go. I'm like, okay. So then she leaves. I never see her again, but she was like very willing. Like she was like for the way she was talking, she was like, oh yeah, I'm ready to hustle. I'm ready to do this, that, blah, blah. Imagine, me talking with Cardi B, I'm ready this, I want money, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, perfect. But it was when I asked for the ID and that I brought it out that
Something
I'm like,
shifted,
okay.
Yeah.
So it was like a totally different move.
She was like, I didn't know you were going to ask for that. Am I getting caught?
Yeah.
I mean, had you ever were you, when you were growing up, in her position at all? Did you have
Many
a
times.
rough time?
Many times.
Do you think that kind of informed?
Of course.
Noticing?
I can always recognize the fear in someone's eyes because I've seen it myself in the mirror when I've used to have to go to John's houses, just to pay my rent or do this. There was times that I would walk inside the bathroom and look at my eyes and I could see the fear I could see myself like very tough, like I can do this. But then like my eyes wouldn't be able to lie. Like I can see the fear, like, they're shiny, but with a dull look, like sadness more than like excitement, glow type of thing.
How old were you when you started escorting?
It was not too much escorting. Okay. I was working at a bar. I started like at 15 because I not ran away from home, but my dad said, as long as you live under my roof, you live under my rules. Sure. And I started paying him rent. And then he started like still telling me, you can't do this, you can't do that. I'm like, okay, this is not going to work. I'm going to go look
What were the rules
else.
that you were not following? I
could not, dress up and be myself. I could not, go out with my friends and come back when I wanted. Of course, I was not expecting to come at 3, 4 in the morning.
Were you were out as trans at that point?
Yeah, I was wanting to transition.
And he was not okay with that? Was like that kind of thing, as long as you're in my house?
It was like a known secret. It was like, we know, but just don't do it in the house.
Yeah, we don't want to see, you in the dress.
Now here's the kicker. My dad's gay.
What?
Right?
It's just like, come on. Like, if I was you and he said that to me, come on.
Like, really?
Come
That's
on.
exactly what I said when he said, I don't want you to be in this world because I live in this world and it's not a safe place. I'm like, well, fuck me, right? You got your butthole destroyed. You got to do whatever the fuck you wanted. Now, I can't do it. I'm sorry. Like, you lived your life. And I spoke with him like that because my dad got me that, like, confidence of talking with him, like, as friends. Like, you know, like, sometimes I remember when I turned 23, like, he will start telling me about, like, his hookups, and I will tell him about mine, you know? But it was not thing, like, dirty or sexual. It was more of, like, a mom and a daughter talking about their husbands, even though, oh, mom, don't talk about my dad, you know? When I said, well, I want to be a woman. Oh, no.
That was
you're going to look like a clown. But he was afraid for me, for being bullied, for being, you know, because being gay, you can at least hide it. Act like a boy and no one will tell you anything. Act tough and you'll be fine. But no, that's the worst. That's when you're the least fine, because that's when I started acting. My whole life was an act. Always trying to act tough. Always trying to act like I'm like a bully, even though I'm like super scared inside, you know? People could see through that, and I just look like a clown, like, look at that gay boy trying to act straight, like, who believes that, you know? But yes, I did get bullied. Sometimes I did get in fights and stuff, but I never backed down. I always said, I will still punch your face. Doesn't matter if you call me a fag, but this fag will punch your face. You know, I never look for fights. And I always try to avoid them. But when I had to defend myself, I had to. It got to the point that my friends in school and stuff, they all started respecting me. That I started getting this confidence that I'm like, if people's gonna like me, they're gonna like me for who I am, regardless. You know, I don't see myself as a bad person. I don't see myself as a bad family member. I cherish family a lot. I believe that, you know, doesn't matter what happened, family is family, and you gotta be there no matter what. So I figure if my family loves me, this is their test. They have to put up with this.
Did dad come around at some point?
Of course. My family
Of course, there's plenty of people who go like, you know, no, I haven't seen him in 20 years. I don't know.
My family literally would kiss the floor where I walk. Because many reasons, whether it's because of sometimes the advisements that we have exchanged among ourselves, sometimes because of the help that I have provided for them, sometimes because, you know, the things that I did for them in the past. So it doesn't matter what, like, my family's there. They might not agree 100% with my decisions, but they don't judge them. Doesn't matter what it is, whether I won an award for, you know, being a porn star, or whether I won an award for, you know, my performance or art clip that I did, they still cheer for me, and they, you know, share my stories. My mom's like, every time I post a video of me performing, doesn't matter if like my boobs are just covered with pasties and I'm half naked, she'll still like repost it and be like, that's my baby, that's my daughter.
So there's some, and so, but when you had to start like paying rent though, or moving out, you started hooking, taking on Johns here and there?
Well, it was not literally hooking. It was not taking Johns. It was pretty much kind of like, the way I see it, it was keeping the secret, because I was working at a bar where for every, let's say you buy me a drink for $8, right? $3 will go to the bar and the rest will go for me. And I will sit with you and take that drink. Yes, some people might call it prostitution, escorting, but I wasn't having any sexual intercourses with anyone. It was like, okay,
you're just chatting with people.
Yeah, because I'm like, I'm a waitress. I need to be wiping tables. I mean, I'm a really good waitress. I'm a really hardworking performer. Doesn't matter whether it's scrubbing toilets or whether it's, you know, fucking in front of a toilet for a porn. I still do it with grace, and I'm really good at any job that I do. So when I was waitressing, you know, like working, you know, tables, a guy will be like, come sit with me, like, and my friends, like, let's have a drink. I'm like, sure, let me go get a drink. Give me a drink. I'll sit down, and I will wait for the whole drink to finish. And I'll be like, okay, well, I'll talk to you later. You know, I can have another drink like in 10 minutes, but like, I need to like keep doing my job.
Well, you described like going to John's houses and like going to the bathroom and looking in the mirror and being scared. And so
that was when you will get like a really like you knew a guy that will come into the bar and spend a lot of money. You know, like he buys bottle service, bunch of tables, you know, VIP service, all that stuff. If you finally go into, you know, like the area, because finally, I guess you look good enough and he tells you to come, you're hanging out, he's sitting by your side, you know, and he's touching you and this and that. And then suddenly he asks you to come with him. And you say, well, no, I have this. And then he just pulls out $1,000 right there. And he's like, here, take them. Come with me tonight. And at that moment, I really, really, really needed the money.
So it's not like you were putting out ads. It was just like by way of working at this bar, you would find yourself in situations where you're getting paid for some stuff.
I mean, I'm a sexual being. Yeah. So if a guy wanted to hook up with me, I will hook up with them. But they always were afraid of me telling on them. So I guess
telling on them to like their wives or something, or
or like telling among the waitresses or people at work that I had sex with them, you know?
Okay.
Because a lot of these guys also were like into a lot of the other girls, the other waitresses or the dancers. And they came to see them, but because they couldn't, you know, take them, I was there and they look cute. I look cute. Sure, give me a ride home. When I least noticed, you know, his dick is in the back of my throat.
So back to this gal you're trying to help, the underage one. You sense stuff is off. You see something from your past in her. And she's a little jittery and she's like, oh, I gotta go. What happens next?
She leaves. They leave. I never hear from her again. My friend, driver asked me, has a conversation with me over the phone about, the girl he doesn't know what happens to her. And I was like, well, I can't work with her because, you know, she doesn't have an ID. He's like, oh, don't worry. You know, I think I have 2 other more. And, another one might be calling me. And at that moment, he had asked me if I could help, you know, him with like screening, like the way I screen all the companies that I work for, the way I screen any nightclub that I perform for or anything that has to do with my business. I screen them. I go through like, you know, I become a private investigator for myself. So he asked me if I could do that for, you know, girls. And in my way, in my head, I thought, sure. It'll be like me helping girls not get, you know, in trouble, not get murdered, not get raped, killed, all that stuff.
Not get scammed either. Yeah.
So talking with friends and talking with lawyers that are friends, they're like, nope, that immediately is you contributing to human trafficking. And I'm like, no, I'm not getting the Johns for them. The girls will call me and they'll be like, hey, this dude is calling me. What do you think, you know, about him? And I will go online and search. Nope, that's still.
That's what we were talking about, what I mentioned before, they'll use the pimping laws to say when you're just trying to help, you know, help keep her safe, they'll be like, well, no, that's pimping.
Yeah, for example, it'll be, because I do it with my homegirls all the time, like, hey girl, like I met this guy, send me the picture. Oh, perfect. Let me see, because I think he's dating this girl, and it's not even about Johns. It's about just like dating. Sure. It's like logging into Facebook. Oh yeah, girl, he's dating this girl from Miami.
You're the friend who researches the new Tinder match.
Yes, exactly. You know, so I didn't say it back because in my mind and in my heart there was nothing like deviant or like in a way for me to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make money out of this.
And you were screening potential Johns, or you were screening like porn companies?
I was screening myself. It was all myself.
No, I mean, you were like, who were you screening? Johns for these girls, or you were screening like companies from the shoe for?
It would be the guys for what he told me. He's like, you will
right.
Johns.
Okay, I'm clarifying between like finding them the porn work and the sex work that they were doing.
Yes, right. Basically they will be calling me to screen Johns for them. Sure. And I was like, that's when I told my friends, and they're like, well, he's asking you to actually do Johns. Because he's like, companies or something. I'm like, no, just different, you know.
Guys, yeah.
Just companies, guys. I don't know. Like, I don't know yet. I haven't done it. I haven't agreed to it. So I don't know if it's going to be a company. I don't know if it's going to be a model scouter. I don't know if it's going to be a John that wants to hire them for a private event. I don't know. But I will find out at that moment. And they're like, nope. That will get you in trouble. Just stay away. Yeah. The Uber driver, this guy knew a lot about me, knew my house, knew personal stuff about me, knew because of conversations that I've had in his taxi. And because of conversations that me and him we had, I knew that this was a person that I did not want it to double cross, and I did not want it on my enemy side, as well as I did not want it him in my friend side. Okay. I did not want it to be associated with anything. 1 year goes by. Well, that he asked me about that. I tell him, I'm like, look, I can't.
Never mind, yeah.
I'm actually I love to. Sure, no problem. Like, how about if, we'll do it, we'll set it for later. Because right now I'm doing Exotica in Texas.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be traveling around the country.
You push them back.
With Savannah. Yes. Let's keep it, let's put it in the back of the books. Yeah. And we'll, get back at it. Because I won't be able to, help you. Sure. And then he's like, okay, no, I understand. And then the calls stopped because I was traveling already. I didn't need an Uber driver to take me to school. So the business that we had, I already kind of didn't want it to be part of any of that. I was like, okay, perfect. I got rid of it. Everything's clean. 6-7 months go by, and the private investigator comes to my house and asks me if I can testify or if I can, because he's collecting information because his client got arrested for human trafficking of a minor. Turns out that the girl, she was 16, about to be 17 when I met her.
And the client of that investigator, is that the driver?
The driver.
So yes. The driver was actually doing some shady shit the whole time, was trying to rope you into doing shady shit
because
too.
I had a name.
Because you had a name? Okay, wow.
So it's like I guess he was like trying to build like a escort ring or trying to bring, prostitution or whatever ring. But all he needed was like the exposure. I would have been that exposure because people would be like, oh yeah, just Google Jessy Dubai. She works with me. I work with her immediately, I'm not saying that I'm the great.
What was the plan? Was it to say like, oh, we're doing like for you to tweet like pictures of him and say like, oh, I
don't know. We never talked about it.
Sure, gotcha.
We never talked about it. I'm finding out about like all of this after, as the case and the trial and all that stuff is going. So the investigator comes and he's like, it turns out that she's a minor. I'm like, sure, please come in. What can I offer you? I have nothing to hide. And if that bastard was prostituting that minor, of course I want him to go to jail. I want to do my part. And I even cried to that investigator because I'm like, how come I didn't sign? Like I saw the fear in her eyes. I told her, to stay away from anything that will be dangerous. Like, cause I even remember telling her, you don't have to prostitute yourself. You don't have to sell your ass, show your ass. If you don't want to, you can become a model as long as you see yourself as one and you work yourself into becoming one. I did what I had to do when I was growing up, but if I would have skipped those steps and just focus and did my work to actually reach out to becoming a model for different companies, I would have saved myself from so much danger, from so much experiences. And also I would have, stopped myself from so many amazing experiences. I also do have to say that. So, the investigator comes and I guess he tells me everything. Later, it turns out that the investigator was not the investigator, that it was helping the Uber driver or in the defense. Turns out to be that was the persecution investigator. So some of my words got twisted, and they made him look like I was basically saying that I was throwing him under the bus. And I was like, okay, I don't care. It's fine. I have nothing,
You met this chick one time and had one conversation.
Yeah. So I even I have no more else to help, Well, it turns out that this girl, she got arrested and she's been prostituted for the last so and so months, and her mom has been looking for her, yada, yada, yada. So I go back to traveling. I don't hear anything from them. I remember telling my family and telling my assistant at that moment. And then 1 year, half a year later, 7-8 months again, I'm in New York and I get the call from my assistant. Hey, the FBI is outside. What do they need? How can I help them? Oh, it's about the Uber driver case. And I'm like, let me speak with them. I'm like, hey, what happened? How can I help? It was never like, what did I do? Or
It's like, what can
immediately, what can I do? How can I help? And then they're like, I'm like, if they would have asked me, like, go to a police station and, do this, I'll be like, okay, I'll go. What's up? Let me help. So they're like, we need you to come back as soon as you can, because there is the investigation against the Uber driver. That's how they called the case. The Uber driver, so and so and so. And we would like for you to testify in front of a grand jury. Basically, you are subpoenaed to.
Yeah.
And when it's subpoena, you have no option but just go there. So I was like, okay. So I fly out Sunday. I get here Monday. I get to Denver Monday. I get my subpoenaed. Once I get my subpoenaed, they leave. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? And I called lawyers and every lawyer was like, well, I need $5,000 retainer. I need $10,000 retainer. I need to see the case. I need to see what's going on. I'm like, there's no time for it. I literally need you to go with me to court tomorrow. Oh, we don't do it like that. We need, like now when I got my lawyer, I was like, it took me a fucking week to get my lawyer. How the fuck did they thought that I will be able to testify, arriving Monday to freaking Tuesday? And I was like, and I told myself that this is an advice. Always talk to a freaking lawyer before you go to...
never show up to a grand jury without a lawyer. Just, I don't care how innocent you are. Just always have one lawyer. Just
make them wait.
They will wait.
Make them wait.
Yeah.
Make them wait. Now I look back at this time and I'm like, if I would have known that day, I would have not show up to court. And if they would have sent up for my arrest, I would have been like, I was getting myself a lawyer.
Yeah. You
know, but I didn't know I could do that. I was naive.
So you go and you testify. And
I
then
go
what
in,
happens?
I testify, and I sit down in the first room that I sit down. I sit in front of the prosecutor. That she tricked me. She wasn't the prosecutor.
Right. And
then she's telling me, so why are you here? And just like I'm talking with you in an interview, well, this happened. Apparently, why are you here?
Right.
Because she's like, your name? And why are you here? And I'm like, well, I'm here for this Uber case. And tell me more. And she was just talking with me. She was not writing anything. She's like, will you repeat everything that you just told me on the other side when we go into this room? The prosecution is going to ask you some questions, this and that and that. And you need to answer with the truth. And I'm like, yes, I have nothing to fear. Perfect. Okay, let's do this. Let's go to the podium. They opened the door for me, and it was like a show again for me, because immediately right there, I thought I was gonna get there like in court, and then people was gonna arrive little after me. No, everybody was there already. The 12 jurors, the police officers.
But you're not necessarily charged with, you're not charged with anything. No one's ever charged you at any point. Yeah.
No. So I just went there basically as a witness, as a key witness, I guess. And, I went, I sit down, and the first question was, can you please introduce yourself to the grand jury? My name is so-and-so, also known as model actress Jessy Dubai. Can you please remember what we spoke earlier? Tell me everything the way you said it earlier. Can you please introduce yourself the way you introduced yourself earlier? And I'm like, okay, I'm Jessy Dubai. I'm
Jessy Dubai.
TS porn star.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people here have seen my work. What do you want?
I said, my name, I am Jessy Dubai, also so-and-so. I am a porn star actress, blah, blah, blah. And basically, when she asked me that question, then I said, okay, my name is so-and-so, also known as porn star Jessy Dubai, actress and model. Porn star. While she raises her red hand, pointing out her finger to the sky. That's the word I wanted you to use. And by you saying you're a porn star, have you ever received money in exchange for sexual purposes? At that moment, I was like, you bitch. You motherfucking bitch. You need... so many things went through my mind that I'm like, okay, calm down, girl. You've seen enough Law and Order. You've seen a lot.
Not
TV
enough
shows.
to say, I would like my lawyer.
Not enough to say, I would like my lawyer. But at that moment, I think myself took a seat back and Jessy Dubai kicked in.
Uh-oh.
And then I remember looking at her and being like, ma'am, if you are asking me that if I have received money in exchange for sexual purposes as a prostitute, the answer is no. But my job as a porn actress and model requires me to perform sexual acts in front of a camera where I do receive a check that gets deducted taxes that pays your salary. So you answer that question for me. Do I say yes or do I say no? Please do not answer with a question. Now check this out. The whole grand jury was made of only 3 women in their 20s.
Okay.
And the rest of them were in their 80s, 60s. So imagine having a Hispanic transsexual porn star in front of them. Basically, they see me, they're the Christians and they see me as the witch.
Right.
That was literally a witch trial.
Yeah.
You know, I was not there to be a witness. I was there to be prosecuted without
That's what you
knowing.
get for trusting white people.
I know. Tell me about it. Now I know. And now I'm better at it.
So you testified at that grand jury. Did you get brought up on charges after? And what was the charge?
Because of the questionnaires and stuff, the kind of questions and stuff, it got to the point that I ended up telling the prosecutor, I'm so sorry. I cannot help you anymore. I'm going to go look for a lawyer. That's when he kicked in like, bitch, no, you need to get out of here. And I remember, I am not arrested. You need me. I don't need you. So I got up and I remember like leaning against the table and looking at my prosecutor and saying, I'm going to leave and I'm going to go get a lawyer. And then she said, do you need a lawyer? And I remember like leaning and kind of like stomping my hand on the desk and looking her dead on the eye. And I said, no, I don't need a lawyer. But the way you're treating me and the way you're twisting my words and the way that lady is only typing what you're saying and is not typing when I talk, it doesn't seem like it's fair to me. So yes, I do need a lawyer because of how I'm being treated. I got up and looked at the panel of grand jury and I'm like, I'm so sorry I can't help anymore, but I'm more than happy to be subpoenaed and come back anytime as long as I have my lawyer, because the way my persecution is making me feel, I do not feel comfortable. I'm feeling prosecuted.
Did you did you get arrested before you came back with the lawyer?
I turned myself in.
Okay.
I leave. And they said, you can't leave. I'm like, am I under arrest? They said, no, thank you. Have a wonderful day. Yeah. I run to my car and I burst into tears. I call my dad. I call my husband. I call everyone. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna in trouble. I go get a lawyer. And then it turns out that the grand jury came back with 12 charges, ranging from human trafficking of a minor, pandering of a minor. Basically what happened.
They're hitting you with all the stuff.
Was like happening with like.
All the stuff that really should be the Uber driver is supposed to get charged with.
Yes.
Yeah. So what happened? How did you get off? Okay, spoiler alert, everyone. She got off on the charge.
Of course.
Yeah. But what was the process of getting off? Did you go to trial or no?
I fought for 1 year getting my evidence because they said we have evidence against you. And I'm like, give me my evidence.
Yeah. Doing discovery.
Give me my evidence. Yeah. They never gave me the discovery. They only gave me like long runarounds, like, oh, this, oh, that, here and there. And I'm like, dang it. Until they got to the point that they said, okay, we're going to give you a deal. And I'm like, because I was facing 50 to 60 years in prison. So they're like, we're going to give you a deal. And I'm like, what is that deal? They're like, we'll give rid of all the charges and leave you with 3. Those charges were, what was it? Possession of controlled substances, conspiracy of a minor, helping a minor with illicit activities, and pandering of a minor for prostitution or something. And those will leave me in a jail, not prison, for 10 to 15 years. Oh,
what amazing, what a deal. I don't think you have anything. So
now, check the kicker. This is when I remember telling them, you want to dance this tango? Let's dance, Becky. She said, but you cannot ask me for your evidence in return. That's when I said, because you don't have any. Yep. I'm like, nope. I don't want the deal, and I want my evidence. And I told my lawyer, I remember like sitting with my lawyer next to me and getting up, and I smacked my fingers on my lawyer, and I told him, let's go. We have nothing to do here.
Right.
And then I told him, I was like, you're supposed to be getting me a good deal. You're my lawyer. You're
Right.
supposed to be kicking ass, not kissing her ass as we were walking down. And I told him, if you can't do your job, tell me so I can fire you and find someone else, you know, because you work for me,
Yeah.
you know, because he was
So-
like, don't smack your fingers at me.
So how did he get you off? Or did you have to get someone new?
No, I didn't got no one new. I ended up, you know, fighting the case until
They just dropped it?
it got to the point that my victim came to testify after like a whole year. Basically, it was like 1 week before the trial. We were on the week for the pre-trial
Yeah.
with 9 charges left.
And she's doing like her deposition and
No, though she was being a witness for a case, and she was a victim for another case around the same time she was my victim.
okay.
So my prosecutor on the last court, she found out of that and she wanted to go get the transcripts from that court into my case to see if there was any, you know, crisscross
Yeah.
references. But for her luck or my luck, she stumbled upon the victim, and because she didn't have any more time, because the following Friday was the trial, so there was no extension. You got permission to go get the papers, but you don't get extension to read them, to go over them. You get them, get what you want, and that's it. I'm not
Okay.
giving you more. She gets there and she's like, bingo, the victim's here. So they ask her if she can testify to prosecute me and she can testify to do, you know, against me. And then she said, yes, I can testify. And when they asked her, what did she do? How did she do? Everything that I've told them since the beginning, that they didn't believe me, everything she repeated to the
She
team.
corroborated
She
it
didn't say
and
this.
they dropped it all, I bet, right
Yep.
after?
Do you want to do any charges? Nope.
Yep.
At that moment, they call me on Monday and they're like, hey, we need you to come on Friday so you can sign the papers. No, they call me that same day. And they're like, hey, at 9 p.m., they're like, hey, so it turns out that this happened, that happened. So on Friday, you're going to go sign the papers because the prosecution is dropping all the charges
Fantastic.
on you. And the thing is that by dropping the charges on me, they dropped the charges on everyone else. They wanted me. Like, they were not even important about the Uber driver.
Jesse,
anyone
that's
else
how
anymore.
hot you are, is that even the prosecution wanted you that badly. They were just like, we want Jesse. And it's like, I appreciate, you know, the fandom, but this is an inappropriate way to get me in a room.
Right.
It's like, if you want an autograph, just ask. You don't have to arrest me.
Yeah, it was horrible. But after that, it gave me like more drive to be like, okay, I'm not going to ever let this happen to anyone. So I'm always going to speak about this. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm actually proud that, yes, I actually say it with pride. I was accused of human trafficking of a minor, but I was innocent. I tried to do the right thing and things didn't went the way it should have been.
But it ultimately worked
But
out.
ultimately, yes, it worked out to the benefit of one, the law, and to the benefit of me, my innocence. Because I do have to say, I was never afraid of my innocence. I was always afraid of how the system will twist my innocence into me
Right.
being guilty for their own benefit.
Yeah, the government doesn't have a great history with trans Mexican porn stars.
Exactly.
Well, I'm glad you're here. I want to make sure you get to your signing on time. So we're gonna. I just want to let people know, where can they find you?
Of course, my clips are on JessyDubai.com.
That's Jesse with a Y.
Yes, the JessyDubai.com, or Twitter, TS Jessy. My Instagram, of course, the Jessy Dubai.
The Jessy Dubai, because some bitch is sitting on at Jessy Dubai.
Right?
Well, Jesse, thanks so much for chatting with me. And why don't you go ahead and say goodbye to everybody?
You guys, it was so nice to be here. I had such an amazing time chatting, remembering those most sour and most amazing, strong time of my life.
If we learned anything, always
Get a
bring
lawyer.
High five.
Always bring a lawyer now.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
I think we're all happy to hear that Jessy Dubai no longer has to fear prison bars. Happy that she got off that rap. Folks, June 4th, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Spend my birthday countdown with me. Let's count down to 31, an age that no one ever cares about. All of my $7 and up fan whores are invited to the party. Become a member at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, Patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. You should already be following me on the socials, but if this is your first time at this rodeo, I'm on Twitter at @TheBillyPresida, and I'm on Instagram at BillyIsPresida. And if you want to shoot me an email with a more involved question, a big comment, maybe you've got a legit criticism, or you just want to show me your titties, you can send that all over to manwhorepod@gmail.com. Also, if you would like an opportunity to both hear yourself on this podcast for the chance to win some cold, hard cash, shoot me that email, manwhorepod@gmail.com. My fan whores will be the first ones to be given any of those slots. Next week, everybody, Emily Lubin is going to be calling in for the show. She's got a new podcast coming out. I've been on Hot Mess Comedy Hour so many times. We've had Andrea over here so many times. It's been a complete oversight that we have not had on the Lubination. So tune in next week for that. That's going to be dope. I'm actually recording it tomorrow with her. I'm excited. Be kind to yourselves out there, okay? Keep trying to stay sane. Keep holding strong. I know it's tempting. Just hold out a little longer. I know you can do it. You can physically do it. You know what I want you to do from home? I want you to stay slutty.